Well, how goods or bads was it? Um, on balance, the trailer was not very, very impressive. Was it completely terrible? Well, I'm gonna just give the score up front. It wasn't that good. Yeah, I'm gonna say 4.5 out of 10. I think that's very generous. So, what are we seeing? Well, I honestly don't know. It seems like Hellboy is in America, although they shot this in Bulgaria. So, Hellboy is a much younger version than if you've seen the Guillermo del Toro films, which I think are still gonna probably be the best versions of Hellboy so far. Now, they are not true to the comic, although Guillermo did use a lot of parts of the comic. It's fair to say he took a lot of liberties. That said, when when he did it, at least Hellboy looked formidable and strong and powerful. Here, this version with this actor looks a little thin. He's very young. There's just a lot of weird things, like the eyes. It doesn't look like a demon at all. Just looks like a guy with a trench coat, and he's searching for something, and it's dark. And I realize the budget here is really small. However, you can still make an impressive horror film with a small budget. Del Toro did that with his water film, right? With the one with the basically the Gill Man. So yeah, a small budget will constrain you, but you can stretch out the dollars. So I don't know. Did they not get a big enough tax credit because it just looks very plain. So we have some images of some woman and a snake-like thing and a lot of choppy editing. I mean, I get it. Hellboy is not exactly Superman or Batman, but I mean, it does have a fan base. And for the record, Mike, who created Hellboy, was clear that he was a little disappointed that Guillermo kind of leaned in a little bit too much on fantasy aspects of Hellboy. I mean, Hellboy is basically a horror comic book, but it goes into various genres. So Guillermo kind of embraced the fantasy epic part of Hellboy. And there are aspects of horror. I mean, there are a few graphic scenes here and there, but for the most part, Guillermo kind of constrained himself. And again, he can show like a graphic stuff. If you've seen Labyrinto or his other films, he can get pretty graphic. So he kind of controlled how graphic we're seeing Hellboy. So hopefully this will at least be closer to comics. There seem to be a few Easter eggs here and there. But again, this is a fairly small adventure. He's just going to go to a town, investigate a mystery. And also, the problem, of course, is this is a younger version. So unless they're going to do something radical, we know he's going to survive. He's going to live this adventure. So what will be the threat, really? It's like, okay, well, we know you have to live. So whatever confrontation, he's going to make it out. And good or bad with the Guillermo del Toro films, because they separated themselves from the comic, I mean, you had the prospect if he was facing battle, he might die. I mean, again, was it likely? No, but there's always the prospect. And I tried to give the other version, 2019 version, a chance. I was watching it and then I stopped watching it. No disrespect to the director, it didn't look that bad. It looked like a fine story, but yeah, Hellboy has been in a rough spot with the live adaptations. This one looks okay-ish, but again, it just doesn't look like Hellboy. It feels like they just did the minimal job, put on some red makeup, trotted the guy out there, and that's about it. That said, nothing wrong with the actor. I'm sure this is the opportunity of a lifetime. But the director does not have, with his filmography, I barely know this person. Doesn't seem like a bad guy. Just he's done a few things in horror, and yeah, he made like a Ghost Rider film. I saw that film. I did, and it wasn't that good. And I like Ghost Rider, so I've read the Ghost Rider comics. I've read the Hellboy comics, but in both cases, I've read the early comics. So this is a later story. So that one I'm not familiar with the source material. So I don't know. I don't know. But again, at least it will be truer to the horror roots of the comic. That's good. I'm sure there will be a few Easter eggs as well as a few homages here and there, but yeah, it just looks like a very plain, kind of bland adventure. Hellboy just happens to be in it, and just nothing impressive with the directing or cinematography. Cinematography is just so like, what's the style? It's just gray and murky and kind of glum. That's about it. The tone is good though. The atmosphere feels spooky. That is about it. Looks like a spooky film, but it doesn't even look like terrifying. I don't think anybody's going to be scared. It'll just be like, oh, okay, at least it's appropriate tone and atmosphere. That's about it. Am I excited? No, no. This at least looks like a serious film, but it just doesn't feel exciting or fun. And Wolverine and Deadpool do feel like it's going to be a fun film. So there should be a medium space where you can make a good, enjoyable film that is serious and even terrifying with Hellboy. But this is not it. This is not it. Yeah, looks disappointing, but I will give it a chance.